Have you ever found yourself staring at your bank account at 3 in the morning, whispering promises to the universe that seem to disappear into the void? You've done everything the experts told you to do. You've visualized your dream life so vividly, you can practically taste it. You've written your financial goals in every journal, on every vision board, maybe even shouted them into the mirror with all the conviction you could muster. And yet, here you are, still waiting for that. Breakthrough, still wondering if maybe, just maybe, manifestation is nothing more than a beautiful lie we tell ourselves to sleep better at night. Now, what if I told you that the problem isn't your desire, isn't your worthiness, and certainly isn't the universe ignoring you? What if the real issue is something far simpler, yet profoundly more powerful than anything you've been taught? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely transform not just how you think about money, but how you speak to the very fabric of reality itself. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to admit. Most of us have been taught to approach abundance like beggars at a banquet. We've been conditioned to ask politely, to hope humbly, to wait patiently for our turn at the table of prosperity. We whisper our desires as if we're embarrassed by them, as if wanting financial freedom is somehow greedy or selfish. We treat the universe like a strict parent we need to convince, a boss we need to impress, or worse, a distant deity who might grant us favors if we're good enough, patient enough, faithful enough. But what if everything you've been told about manifestation has been backwards? What if the universe isn't waiting for you to prove yourself, but rather waiting for you to remember who you truly are? Has this ever happened to you? You affirm, you visualize, you believe with all your heart, and then you check your bank balance and feel that sinking. Disappointment all over again. That moment when doubt creeps in and whispers, "See, it doesn't work for you." But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. The ancient wisdom keepers understood something that modern manifestation teachings often miss entirely. They knew that creation doesn't respond to pleading, it responds to commanding, not from ego, not from desperation, but from a place of absolute knowing. There's a specific energetic language that bypasses all the doubt, all the waiting, all the wondering. And today, I'm going to share with you 5 exact words that Joseph Murphy taught. 5 words that shift you from the frequency of asking into the frequency of commanding, from the vibration of hoping into the vibration of owning. Think about the way you've been taught to pray, to manifest, to call in abundance. You fold your hands, you bow your head, you ask nicely, "Please, universe, if it's not too much trouble, could you send me some money? Pretty please." And then you wait, and while you're waiting, life keeps happening, bills keep arriving, and that quiet desperation starts to build in your chest. You start wondering what you're doing wrong, what invisible rule you haven't figured out yet, what secret password everyone else seems to know but you. Here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The universe doesn't operate on politeness. It operates on frequency, on certainty, on the unwavering conviction of someone who knows their power. Joseph Murphy spent decades studying the mechanics of consciousness, the spiritual laws that govern how thought becomes reality. And what he discovered was both simple and revolutionary. There are 5 specific words. 5 syllables that, when spoken from the right state of consciousness, create an energetic command that the universe must answer. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you're finally speaking the language creation understands. This isn't about positive thinking or hoping really hard. This is about a fundamental shift in your relationship with abundance itself. When you say please to money, you're positioning yourself beneath it, as if prosperity is some benevolent king who might grant you audience if you grovel convincingly enough. But that's not how spiritual authority works. That's not how the great manifestors throughout history operated. They didn't beg, they declared, they commanded. They spoke with the absolute knowing that what they decreed was already done in the invisible realm, simply waiting to materialize in the physical. The transformation happens the moment you stop asking and start claiming. When you shift from "I hope" to "I know," from "maybe someday" to "it is done," you step into a completely different energetic reality. Your entire vibration changes. The decisions you make shift. The opportunities you notice multiply. It's as if you've been trying to unlock a door by knocking politely, when all along you had the key in your pocket. You just needed to remember that you're not a visitor in the house of abundance. You're the owner, you're the authority, you're the one who decides what enters and what stays. Now, I want to go even deeper into this transformation, because understanding these 5 words is only the beginning. The real power comes from knowing how to embody them, how to speak them in a way that bypasses your conscious doubt and programs your subconscious mind for absolute certainty. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to command," if this resonates with you so far. You know what's fascinating? When you watch someone else manifest their dream house, their ideal relationship, their financial breakthrough, there's this immediate tendency to think they must have something you don't. Maybe they're luckier. Maybe they were born under better stars. Maybe the universe just likes them more. But that story, as comforting as it might be to explain away your own struggles, isn't true. The real difference isn't in their circumstances or their cosmic favor. It's in the language they're using, the frequency they're broadcasting, the energetic signature they're sending out into the field of infinite possibility. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Surround yourself with content that keeps you in the frequency of growth and reminds you of your power to command abundance. Every word you speak carries a vibration. Every thought you think emits a signal. When you say things like "I need money," you're not actually calling money toward you. You're declaring and reinforcing the state of needing. When you affirm "I want abundance," you're solidifying the experience of wanting, of not having. It's subtle, but it's everything. The universe is literal. It's a mirror, not a mind reader. It reflects back to you the exact energetic state you're emanating, not the desire hiding beneath your words. This is why so many people get trapped in what I call the customer service mentality. They approach manifestation like they're standing in line at a store, waiting their turn, hoping someone will eventually call their number and fulfill their order. They file their requests through prayer or affirmation, and then they wait and wait, checking in periodically to see if maybe today's the day their shipment arrives. But here's the revelation that changes the entire game. The universe isn't a customer service desk with limited staff and long wait times. It's an infinitely abundant, instantaneously responsive field of pure potential that's literally waiting for you to tell it what to do. Think about electricity in your home. It's always there, always available, always ready. But it doesn't activate itself. You have to flip the switch. You have to make a decision, take an action, give a command. You don't stand in front of a light switch saying, "Please, if it's meant to be, could you maybe turn on?" You just flip it. That's the level of certainty. That's the quality of decision-making that activates the flow of abundance. It's not about worthiness or proving yourself. It's about recognizing that the power has always been in your hands, and all you needed was the right instruction manual. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated. When you stop hesitating and start commanding, when you replace the language of lack with the language of ownership, everything in your reality begins to reorganize itself. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly become obvious. Resources that seemed out of reach start flowing toward you. People, circumstances, and synchronicities align in ways that would have seemed miraculous before, but now feel natural, expected. Inevitable. Let me show you exactly how to make this shift, starting with understanding what these 5 words actually are and why they work at such a deep level. Drop "I'm listening" in the comments if you're tracking with me so far. Let me take you behind the scenes of how reality actually works, because once you understand this mechanism, everything else falls into place effortlessly. Modern science has confirmed what ancient mystics have known for millennia. There is no solid matter. Everything you see, touch, and experience is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your body is energy, your thoughts are energy, your words are energy, and most importantly, money is energy. When you grasp this at a cellular level, you realize that attracting wealth isn't about working harder or getting luckier. It's about matching frequencies, like tuning a radio dial to the exact station you want to hear. Here's where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. They focus intensely on what they don't have, on the absence, on the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And that focus, that attention, that emotional investment in lack creates a powerful vibration of scarcity. The universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects that vibration right back to you. You get more situations that make you feel lacking, more circumstances that reinforce the story of not enough. It's not punishment, it's not bad luck. It's just resonance, like attracts like. Scarcity attracts scarcity. Abundance attracts abundance. This is why affirmations alone often fail. You can stand in front of a mirror all day saying, "I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy." But if underneath those words there's a feeling of desperation, if there's an undercurrent of, "Please let this work because I'm broke," then the vibration you're actually sending out is poverty consciousness dressed up in positive words. The universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your frequency. It responds to the emotional truth beneath your declarations. Think about how a mirror works. You don't stand in front of it frowning and ask it politely to show you a smile. That would be absurd. You smile first, and instantly, automatically, the reflection smiles back. This is the fundamental principle of all manifestation. You must become the thing before you see the thing. You must embody the energy of wealth before wealth can show up in your physical reality. This isn't pretending or faking it. Until you make it. This is recognizing that in the quantum field, in the realm of pure potential, you already have access to every possible version of yourself, including the version living with effortless abundance. The transformation happens when you stop trying to attract money from a place of not having it, and instead start operating from the frequency of already possessing it. This shift in consciousness, this decision to embody rather than pursue, changes your entire energetic signature. Your thoughts become different, your decisions become bolder, your actions align naturally with abundance because you're no longer acting from scarcity. Now let me reveal to you the exact 5 words that create this shift instantly, and more importantly, why these specific words bypass all your conscious resistance. Type, "I'm embodying abundance," if this is landing for you. The 5 words Joseph Murphy taught are devastatingly simple, almost deceptively so. But before I give them to you, you need to understand why we're focusing on the specific amount of $500,000. This isn't arbitrary. This number is strategically chosen because it sits in that sweet spot of your consciousness where belief and doubt dance together. It's large enough to fundamentally change your life, to eliminate the financial stress that's been weighing on you, to open doors that currently feel locked. But it's not so astronomically huge that your mind immediately shuts down and says, "That's impossible for someone like me." This is what I call a faith-stretching number. It forces you to grow beyond your current identity, beyond the safe little box of what you think you deserve or what feels realistic based on your past. When you work with this amount, you're training your consciousness to expand, to hold a bigger vision, to operate from a more powerful frequency. And here's the beautiful secret. Once you master the energetic signature of commanding $500,000 into your reality, the same principle applies to any amount. You're not just learning how to manifest money, you're learning how to become a conscious creator who understands the mechanics of materialization. But most people never get there because they're stuck in the waiting room of life. They're waiting for the economy to improve, waiting for the right opportunity to fall in their lap, waiting for some external force to grant them permission to prosper. And while they wait, years pass. Dreams. A fade. That quiet resignation sets in, that sad acceptance that maybe abundance just isn't in the cards for them. This waiting energy is perhaps the most insidious form of resistance because it feels virtuous, it feels patient, it feels spiritual, but it's actually the opposite of creation. Joseph Murphy was crystal clear about this in his teachings. You don't wait for miracles, you don't hope for blessings, you command them. Not from ego, not from entitlement, but from the absolute knowing that you are an extension of divine intelligence, and divine intelligence is infinitely abundant. When you command, You're not demanding something external. You're activating something internal. You're claiming what already exists in the invisible realm and giving it permission to materialize in your visible experience. The transformation from waiting to commanding is a decision, a singular moment where you stop being passive and start being directive. It's when you realize that the universe isn't going to do it for you. It's going to do it through you. You are the conduit, the channel, the instrument through which abundance flows. And the moment you accept that responsibility, that power, everything shifts. Now let me give you the exact 5 words and walk you through how to speak them with the kind of authority that moves mountains and opens bank accounts. Comment, I command my abundance, if you're ready for this revelation. Here's what most people never realize, and it's the revelation. That changes everything. The universe already said yes. Before you even asked, before you even thought about asking, the answer was yes. The abundance you're seeking, it's already approved. The financial breakthrough you're dreaming about, already granted. This isn't wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing. This is the fundamental nature of an infinite universe. There is no scarcity in the quantum field. There is no lack in divine mind. There is only unlimited potential waiting for you to claim. To call it forth, to give it shape and form through the power of your consciousness. But here's where the journey gets interesting. Even though the universe has already said yes, even though abundance is your birthright and wealth is your natural inheritance, it cannot force itself upon you. It requires your permission. It needs your command. Think about it like this. Imagine someone wants to give you a gift, a beautiful, expensive gift that would change your life. But you keep your hands behind your back. You keep saying, oh, I couldn't possibly accept that, or maybe someday when I'm more worthy. The gift doesn't get any less real. The giver doesn't become less generous, but you never receive it because you never truly claim it. If you found value here, hit that like button. It helps this message reach others who are ready to stop begging and start commanding. This is the critical distinction between asking and commanding that separates those who manifest consistently from those who struggle endlessly. When you ask for something, there's an inherent assumption woven into that request. The assumption is, I don't have this yet. I am separate from this. I'm hoping someone or something outside of me will grant me access to it. That energy of separation, that vibration of not yet having, is precisely what keeps the thing at arm's length. You're literally programming the universe to maintain the gap between you and your desire. But when you command, when you declare, with unwavering certainty, this is mine, something profound shifts in the fabric of your reality. Commanding doesn't mean being aggressive or forceful. It means speaking from ownership. It means recognizing that in the invisible realm, in the world of pure possibility, you already possess everything you're calling into your physical experience. You're not trying to get something, you're claiming something. You're not reaching for what's outside you. You're revealing what's already within you. Already around you, already part of your energetic field. This shift from asking to commanding is a decision about your identity. Are you a beggar or a creator? Are you powerless or powerful? Are you at the mercy of external circumstances, or are you the director of your own experience? The impact of how you answer these questions reverberates through every aspect of your life. Your decisions change, your actions align differently, your entire presence in the world transforms because you're no longer operating from lack. Now let me give you the exact words and show you how to embody this commanding energy in a way that feels natural and authentic to who you are. Write "This is mine" in the comments if you're feeling this shift happening. There's a misunderstanding about humility that's been keeping people small for generations. You've probably been taught that being humble means making yourself less, dimming your light, apologizing for your desires, staying quiet about your dreams. That's not humility. That's fear dressed up as virtue. Real humility is something entirely different, something far more powerful. True humility is recognizing that the creative force flowing through you, the intelligence that beats your heart and grows your hair and heals your wounds without you even thinking about it, is the same intelligence that formed galaxies and orchestrated the cosmos. And that intelligence is limitless. When you command abundance, when you speak with authority about what you're calling into your life, you're not being arrogant. You're not putting yourself above anyone or claiming to be special. You're simply acknowledging the truth of your divine nature. You're operating from alignment with the source of all creation. Think about it this way. Is a flower arrogant when it blooms? Is a river arrogant when it flows? Is the sun arrogant when it shines? No. They're simply expressing their nature. And your nature, whether you've remembered it or not, is abundance. Your nature is creativity. Your nature is limitless potential. The hidden truth here is that when you shrink yourself, when you play small, when you whisper your desires like they're shameful secrets, you're not being humble. You're actually dishonoring the divine power that created you. You're saying, "Thank you for making me in your image, but I'm going to pretend I'm powerless." That's not humility. That's insult. Commanding from divine alignment means speaking with the certainty that comes from knowing you're one with infinite intelligence. Now here's where people unknowingly sabotage their own manifestations. The universe operates on vibration, on frequency, on the consistent signal you're broadcasting. Your thoughts are literally blueprints, energetic templates that the universe uses to construct your physical reality. Your words are instructions, commands that tell the creative field what to materialize. But most people send mixed messages all day long. They affirm abundance in the morning while brushing their teeth, then spend the afternoon complaining about bills. They visualize their dream life before bed, then wake up and immediately check their bank account with anxiety. It's like walking into a restaurant, ordering a meal, and then calling the waiter back every 5 minutes to change your order. First, you want the pasta, then you change it to the steak, then you decide maybe the salad would be better, then you panic and say, "Just bring me whatever's..." easiest. Eventually, the kitchen stops taking you seriously. They can't prepare your meal because you won't commit to what you actually want. The universe works exactly the same way. When you believe one moment and doubt the next, when you claim your abundance and then immediately question if it's really coming, you're creating static in your own creative field. The impact of this inconsistency is profound because you're essentially canceling out your own commands. Now let me show you how to Create vibrational consistency, how to speak these 5 words in a way that eliminates doubt and establishes unwavering authority in your consciousness. Leave "I'm consistent now" in the comments if this is resonating. The 5 words that Joseph Murphy taught, the words that shift you from begging to commanding, from hoping to claiming, are beautifully simple. They are: money, you belong to me. Just 5 words, 5 syllables, but contained within this short phrase is a complete transformation of your relationship with abundance. These aren't magic words in the fantasy sense. They're magic because they rewire your subconscious mind. They recalibrate your energetic frequency. They establish ownership where there was once separation. Notice the structure of these words. You're not saying "I want money" or "money please come to me" or "I hope I can have money." You're declaring ownership. You're speaking directly to money itself as if it's an entity, a force, an energy that responds to clear direction, and you're claiming it. You belong to me, not "you might belong to me someday" or "I wish you belonged to me." Present tense, absolute, final. This is the language of authority, the vocabulary of someone who understands their divine right to prosperity. Now I want you to actually do this. Don't just listen passively. Say it out loud right now. Money, you belong to me. Say it like you mean it. Say it with your full chest, with conviction, with certainty. If you're somewhere you can't speak out loud, whisper it intensely, but give these words voice. Let them move through your body. Let them vibrate in your throat and resonate in your chest. Because here's what's happening when you speak these words. You're not just affirming something positive. You're issuing a command to your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your behavior, your decisions, your perceptions, your reality. Your subconscious doesn't argue. It doesn't debate. It simply accepts. What you tell it with authority, and then goes to work, making it true. When you say "money, you belong to me" with genuine conviction, your subconscious says "understood" and immediately begins reshaping your awareness, highlighting opportunities you were blind to before, giving you courage to make moves you were too afraid to make, magnetizing circumstances and connections that align with your new identity as someone to whom money belongs. You might feel awkward the first time you say it. You might feel like you're lying or pretending or playing a role. That discomfort is actually a good sign. It means you're pushing against the edges of your old identity, stretching beyond the familiar limitations of your previous self-concept. That awkwardness is the growing pain of transformation. Every time you speak these words, you're training your nervous system, programming your mind, establishing a new baseline of normalcy. What feels strange today will feel natural tomorrow. What feels like a reach right now will feel like truth soon. The journey from discomfort to embodiment happens through repetition with intention. You're not just repeating words mindlessly like a robot. You're speaking them with awareness, with presence, with the understanding that each utterance is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. Now let me show you exactly when and how to speak these words for maximum impact on your reality. Type "money belongs to me" if you just said it out loud. What you just activated by speaking those words is something Joseph Murphy called the law of ownership. This is one of the most misunderstood principles in all of manifestation work. Most people spend their entire lives chasing money, running after opportunities, desperately trying to capture abundance like it's some wild animal that needs to be hunted down and trapped. But that's backwards. That's exhausting. And more importantly, it doesn't work. The universe doesn't respond to chasing. It responds to claiming. It gives you what you own energetically, not what you pursue frantically. Here's the revelation that changes the whole game. Money is already in your field, right now, this very moment. It's circling around you like satellites orbit the Earth, waiting for the signal to land. You're not separate from abundance. You're not distant from prosperity. It's already in your energetic atmosphere. The only thing that's been keeping it in orbit instead of in your hands is the lack of a clear command. You've been sending up weak signals, mixed messages, uncertain frequencies, and so the money stays suspended, waiting, available, but not manifesting. When you declare with authority, "Money, you belong to me," you're finally giving that orbiting abundance permission to land. You're providing coordinates. You're establishing yourself as the rightful destination. Think about it like this. Imagine money as energy that has consciousness, that can sense your vibration. It's been hovering nearby, wanting to flow to you, but it can only go where it's commanded with certainty. The moment you claim ownership, the moment you speak with conviction rather than hope, you create a gravitational pull that draws it into your physical reality. This is why understanding money as energy is so critical to your transformation. Money isn't some scarce resource guarded by gatekeepers. It's not a limited commodity that only the lucky few can access. It's energy, and energy must flow. It cannot stay stagnant. It's constantly moving, circulating, looking for clear channels to flow through. When you treat money like a mystery, like something foreign and unpredictable, when you see it as an enemy or view it with resentment, you're closing yourself off as a channel. But when you recognize it as a loyal servant, as energy that responds to direction, everything shifts. The problem up until now hasn't been that money doesn't want to come to you. The problem has been the mixed frequencies you've been broadcasting. One moment you're affirming abundance, genuinely believing it's possible, feeling excited about your financial future. The next moment you're looking at your bills with dread, complaining about prices, feeling anxious about making ends meet. These conflicting signals create interference. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while someone keeps changing the dial. The signal gets scrambled. The message gets confused. The manifestation gets delayed. Now, I want to show you how to eliminate that interference completely. How to maintain a consistent frequency of ownership so that money stops orbiting and starts landing in your life with increasing speed and regularity. Comment, "I'm the destination," if you're understanding how this law of ownership operates. The transformation from scattered energy to focused manifestation begins the moment you open your eyes each morning. Before you reach for your phone, before you check messages or scroll. Through notifications, or let the outside world dictate your frequency, you have a sacred window of opportunity. Those first 60 seconds of consciousness are when your subconscious mind is most receptive, most programmable, most open to new instructions. This is when the bridge between your waking state and your deeper mind is still accessible, before the analytical brain fully activates and starts filtering everything through old beliefs and patterns. In those precious 60 seconds, sit up in bed, plant your feet on the floor and take 3 deep breaths. Feel yourself fully arrive in your body, then close your eyes and speak those 5 words with absolute conviction. Money, you belong to me. Don't whisper it like a timid request. Don't mumble it like you're embarrassed. Say it with your full voice, with the authority of someone who knows their power. Let those words vibrate through your chest, resonate in your bones, imprint themselves on your consciousness before any doubt has a chance to creep in. This simple practice, this 60-second ritual, sets the energetic tone for your entire day. You're not just saying words, you're establishing your identity, you're declaring your relationship with abundance, you're programming your subconscious to filter the day's experiences through the lens of ownership rather than lack. Every decision you make, every opportunity you notice, every action you take will be subtly influenced by this morning command, because you've anchored yourself in the frequency of abundance right from the start. Now here's where the practice deepens and becomes even more powerful. After you speak those words while your eyes are still closed and your consciousness is still in that receptive state, I want you to visualize something specific. See $500,000 not as a static number in a bank account, but as golden light, as living energy that's already moving in your field. Watch it flowing toward you from multiple directions. Simultaneously, see it coming through unexpected clients who need exactly what you offer. Watch it arriving through promotions you haven't even applied for yet. Notice it flowing through sales of products or services, through investments that multiply, through gifts and opportunities you couldn't have orchestrated with your conscious mind. This visualization isn't wishful thinking, it's energetic programming. You're showing your subconscious the pathways, opening yourself to receive from sources. You haven't even considered. Most people limit their manifestation because they fixate on one specific channel. They think, I need my boss to give me a raise, or I need this one client to say yes. But the universe has infinite delivery systems. Your job isn't to figure out the how. Your job isn't to control the mechanism. Your job is to issue the command clearly and then trust the intelligence of creation to organize circumstances in ways your limited human perspective could never imagine. The impact of releasing control over the how cannot be overstated. This is where most manifestations get blocked, right at the point where you try to micromanage the universe. Let me show you what happens when you truly surrender the method while maintaining the certainty of the outcome. Drop "I trust the how" in the comments if this approach feels freeing to you. There's one crucial element that transforms your command from a wish into a certainty, and it's something most people skip right over. Because they don't understand its power. After you speak those 5 words, after you visualize that golden light of abundance flowing toward you from all directions, you must immediately follow with gratitude. Say it out loud. Thank you, universe, for my $500,000. Notice the phrasing, not thank you for sending it or thank you for considering it. Thank you for my money. Present tense, already done, already received. Gratitude is the seal on your energetic envelope. It's the signature that tells the universe this transaction is complete. When you're grateful for something, you're operating from the assumption that you have it. You don't thank someone for something you're still hoping they might give you someday. You thank them because the gift is in your hands. This shift from wanting to having, from future to present, is what collapses time in the quantum field. You're no longer pushing your desire into some distant tomorrow. You're pulling it into your now. Through the magnetic force of appreciation. This is why gratitude accelerates manifestation so dramatically. It changes your entire energetic signature from seeking to possessing. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, must reflect back to you the reality that matches your vibration. When you vibrate gratitude for abundance you already have, the universe says, "Ah, they have it," and begins rearranging circumstances to make the invisible visible, to bring the energetic into the physical. Now, here's where things get really interesting, and this is something I need you to be prepared for. When you change your vibration this significantly, when you go from asking to commanding, from lacking to owning, from hoping to knowing, your reality doesn't just add good things, it also removes things that no longer match your new frequency. You might receive unexpected opportunities, yes. Phone calls from people you haven't heard from in years with business propositions. Job offers that seem to appear out of nowhere. Random acts of generosity that make you smile and think, this is it, it's working. But you might also lose things. Relationships that were based on your old identity might fade away. Jobs that kept you small might suddenly become unbearable, forcing you to make a change. Situations that were comfortable but limiting might collapse. Don't panic when this happens. This isn't punishment. This isn't failure. This is alignment at work. The universe is making room. In your life for what you've commanded. It's clearing out the old to make space for the new. It's removing the energetic clutter so that abundance can flow freely without obstruction. Think of it like renovating a house. Before you can bring in the beautiful new furniture, you have to remove the old, worn-out pieces. Before you can paint the walls fresh colors, you have to strip away the old paint. The removal isn't destruction, it's preparation. It's the necessary clearing that precedes transformation. Your life is reorganizing itself around your new frequency, and that process requires both addition and subtraction, both receiving and releasing. Now let me show you how to navigate these shifts with grace and maintain your certainty even when things look chaotic on the surface. Right, I trust the process if you're ready to embrace both the additions and the subtractions that come with this transformation. The biggest mistake people make after learning this command, after speaking those 5 words with conviction, after visualizing and expressing gratitude, is that they sabotage the entire process within hours. They wake up, they do the practice perfectly, they feel that surge of power and certainty, and then by lunchtime they're complaining about their financial situation. By dinner they're worrying about bills. By bedtime they're checking their bank account with anxiety, wondering why nothing has changed yet. And in doing so, they've just cancelled their own order with the universe. Imagine planting a seed in your garden. You place it in the soil with care. You water it, you give it sunlight, and then you walk away to let nature do its work. But what if you couldn't leave it alone? What if every few hours you dug it up to see if it was growing yet? What if you kept pulling it out of the ground to inspect the roots, to measure the progress, to verify that something was actually happening? that seed would never grow, not because the seed was defective, not because the soil was bad, but because you wouldn't let the process unfold. You interrupted the natural transformation with your impatience and doubt. This is exactly what happens when you command abundance in the morning and then spend the rest of your day in the energy of lack. Every complaint is you digging up the seed. Every moment of worry is you pulling it out to check. Every doubt-filled thought is you interfering with the very process you initiated. The command needs time. To build energy, to gather momentum, to organize circumstances in the invisible realm before it can manifest in the visible. Your job after issuing the command is to let it rest, to trust it, to live as if it's already done behind the scenes. What's fascinating is that as you practice this consistently, as you command without sabotaging, as you maintain the frequency of ownership throughout your day, something profound begins to happen. Your entire energy shifts in ways you can actually feel, and others can actually see. You start walking differently, not with the hunched shoulders of someone carrying financial burden, but with the upright posture of someone who knows their worth. You start thinking differently, not from problems, but towards solutions, not from scarcity, but from possibility. Your conversations change. You stop participating in poverty consciousness talk. When others complain about how expensive everything is, you don't join in. When people talk about how hard it is to make money, you smile quietly because you know something they don't. Your decisions become bolder because you're no longer operating from the fear of not enough. You take opportunities you would have been too afraid to take before. You invest in yourself in ways that would have seemed reckless from your old mindset. And all of this happens naturally, not forced, because you've fundamentally shifted who you believe yourself to be. The $500,000 stops being this distant, impossible dream and starts feeling inevitable, not because you're delusional or in denial about your current circumstances, but because you've aligned with the frequency where that amount of wealth is simply a natural expression of who you are. Now let me reveal what happens in your subconscious mind during this transformation and why the shifts occur so rapidly once you truly commit. Comment, "I'm shifting," if you can already feel this change beginning in yourself. There's something about confidence that money can sense from miles away. It's almost as if abundance has its own intelligence, its own ability to detect where it's welcomed versus where it's desperately needed. And here's the thing, money doesn't respond to desperation. It doesn't flow toward chaos or confusion or frantic energy. It moves toward clarity. It gravitates toward people who carry themselves with certainty, who make decisions from a place of knowing rather than hoping, who speak about their financial reality. As creators rather than victims, when you embody the energy of money, you belong to me. When you truly inhabit that frequency, you become magnetic in a way that transcends logic. Opportunities start presenting themselves. The right people cross your path at exactly the right moment. Ideas download into your consciousness that lead to income streams you never considered. None of this is coincidence. It's resonance. You've become a clear signal, and clarity always attracts what it needs. Confusion repels, doubt creates resistance, but confidence Confidence creates a wide open channel for abundance to pour through. This is why your nighttime practice is just as important as your morning ritual. Before you close your eyes tonight, before you drift into sleep, I want you to whisper those 5 words one more time, but notice the energy behind them. This time, you're not commanding with force or intensity. You're speaking with peace, with the calm certainty of someone who knows the deal is already done. Money, you belong to me. Let it be a gentle reminder to your subconscious, a soft instruction that will work its way through your mind while you sleep. As you lie there in that liminal space between waking and dreaming, let yourself feel what it would be like if the $500,000 had already arrived. Don't strain or try too hard. Just allow the images to come naturally. See yourself checking your account and smiling at the balance. Feel the relief of every bill being paid with ease. Notice the lightness in your chest when financial stress is no longer part of your daily experience. Watch yourself making decisions based on what aligns with your purpose rather than what you can afford. Experience the joy of being generous, of helping others, of living with the freedom that abundance provides. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you fall asleep with these images and feelings, saturating your consciousness, your deeper mind accepts them as truth and begins reorganizing your behavior, your perceptions, your entire approach to life to match this new reality. You're literally reprogramming yourself while you rest, planting seeds in the most fertile ground possible, the twilight zone between conscious and unconscious, where transformation happens effortlessly. This combination of morning command and evening visualization creates a complete circuit of manifestation. You're bookending your day with authority and alignment, with certainty and peace. Everything that happens in between gets filtered through this new lens. Now let me show you what to do when doubt tries to creep back in, because it will, and knowing how to handle it makes all the difference. Leave "I sleep in abundance" in the comments if you're committed to this evening practice. Your subconscious mind is one of the most powerful forces in your entire existence, yet most people go through life completely unaware of how to harness it. Think of your subconscious as the workshop of the universe, the place where thoughts become things, where beliefs shape reality, where the invisible is transformed into the visible. While you sleep, while your conscious mind rests and releases control, your subconscious goes to work with the instructions you've given it. It doesn't judge those instructions. It doesn't question whether they're realistic or possible. It simply accepts what you've impressed. Upon it and begins building the corresponding reality. This is why the practice of falling asleep with images of abundance is so transformative. You're giving your subconscious a blueprint to work from during the hours when your analytical mind isn't interfering, when doubt can't interrupt, when you're most receptive to reprogramming. Every night becomes an opportunity to deepen the imprint, to reinforce the identity of someone to whom money belongs. Your subconscious doesn't need your conscious effort to manifest. It just needs clear, consistent instructions, and those instructions are delivered through the images you hold, the feelings you cultivate, and the words you speak before surrendering to sleep. But here's where the real magic happens. And this is the part that separates those who manifest quickly from those who struggle for years. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you cannot wake up wondering if it's working. You cannot open your eyes and immediately start questioning whether the money is on its way. That energy of wondering, that frequency of uncertainty, is the energy of someone who doesn't have what they've commanded. Instead, you must wake up assuming it's already done, not hoping, not wishing, not checking for evidence, assuming, knowing, operating from the unshakable certainty that in the invisible realm, the transaction is complete. This means you get out of bed tomorrow with a smile on your face. You walk to the bathroom with confidence in your step. You look at yourself in the mirror and see someone who already owns wealth, someone to whom $500,000 belongs. You don't treat yourself like someone who's trying to manifest something. You treat yourself like someone who's simply waiting for the physical reality to catch up with the spiritual truth. Because spiritually, energetically, in the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously, you already have it. The only question is how quickly you can align your physical experience with that energetic reality. This isn't about pretending or faking or lying to yourself. This is about recognizing that there are two realms of existence, the seen and the unseen. The unseen always precedes the seen. Everything that exists in your physical world first existed as thought, as energy, as possibility. When you live as if your manifestation is already complete, you're not being delusional. You're being spiritually accurate. You're acknowledging what's true in the invisible before it becomes obvious in the visible. Now let me show you how to maintain this assumption throughout your entire day, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. Type, "It's already done," if this understanding is clicking into place for you. The moment you start checking for proof is the moment you reveal you don't actually believe it's done. And this is the trap that catches almost everyone who's trying to manifest abundance. They do the morning practice. They speak the words with conviction. They visualize before bed. And then they wake up the next day and immediately check their bank account to see if maybe, just maybe, a miracle happened overnight. When they see the same old balance, that familiar number that's been there for weeks or months, disappointment floods in. Doubt whispers, "See, it doesn't work." And in that moment, they've just cancelled everything they commanded. This compulsive checking is like constantly peeking over your shoulder to see if abundance is following you. The energy of checking is the energy of not having. It's the frequency of uncertainty, and the universe responds to your frequency, not your words. You can say, "Money, you belong to me," 1,000 times, but if you're checking your account every few hours with anxiety, the louder message you're broadcasting is, "I don't have it yet and I'm worried it's not coming." That signal, that vibration of lack and worry is what the universe mirrors back to you. Here's an analogy that Joseph Murphy often used to illustrate this principle. Imagine you plant a seed in your garden. You know that seed contains within it the entire blueprint for the plant it will become. The flower is already encoded in that tiny seed, but it needs time. It needs the right conditions. It needs soil, water, sunlight, and most importantly, it needs to be left alone to do its work underground where you can't see it. Now imagine standing over that seed every day, digging it up to check if it's growing. Yet examining the roots, measuring the progress, and then putting it back in the ground, what would happen? The seed would never grow, not because it lacked potential, but because you wouldn't let the natural process unfold. Your command to the universe works exactly the same way. When you declare money, you belong to me. When you impress that instruction upon your subconscious, when you align your frequency with abundance, you've planted the seed. Now it needs trust. Trust is the soil that allows your command to take root and flourish. Trust is what creates the space for manifestation to occur. Without trust, you're constantly digging up your own seed, interrupting the process, preventing the transformation from completing itself. The hidden truth here is that trust isn't passive. It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. Trust is an active choice to maintain your frequency of knowing, even when your physical circumstances haven't caught up yet. It's continuing to walk with confidence, even though the bank balance looks the same. It's making decisions from abundance, even though the evidence isn't visible yet. It's treating yourself like someone who already has wealth, even though others might think you're crazy. Now let me show you exactly how to cultivate this kind of unshakable trust, and what to do when doubt inevitably tries to pull you back into old patterns. Drop "I trust completely" in the comments if you're committed to letting your seed grow without interference. The truth about why most manifestations fail isn't complicated, but it's uncomfortable. You can speak those 5 words every morning with perfect pronunciation and impeccable intention, but if you spend the next 12 hours vibrating fear, the fear wins, always. The universe doesn't respond to the words you say once in the morning, it responds to the frequency you emit consistently throughout the day. And fear, worry, anxiety, these emotions are loud. They broadcast a powerful signal that drowns out your morning command, like static, overwhelming a weak radio transmission. Think about what's actually happening when you declare, "Money, you belong to me" at sunrise, and then spend your afternoon stressing about bills. You're essentially calling the waiter over and ordering a meal, then immediately calling them back and saying, "Actually, never mind, I don't deserve to eat." The universe receives both messages, but it can only deliver one reality, and whichever vibration is stronger, whichever frequency you maintain longer, that's what manifests. If you spend 2 minutes in faith and 2 hours in fear, fear is the louder voice. Faith whispers, fear screams, and most people let fear dominate their energetic airwaves without even realizing it. This is why the transformation isn't about getting better at commanding. It's about getting better at embodying. It's about shifting your entire focus from outcome to identity, from "when will this happen" to "who am I being?" Right now, stop asking when the money will arrive and start asking how you can be the version of yourself who already has it. This isn't about pretending or performing. This is about recognizing that you don't need to wait for $500,000 to show up before you can think like someone with wealth. You can adopt that mindset today, right now, this moment. How does someone with $500,000 walk? They don't shuffle through life with hunched shoulders and defeated energy. They walk with purpose, with confidence, with the relaxed assurance of someone who knows they're taken care of. How do they talk? They don't complain constantly about prices or stress about expenses. They speak about opportunities, possibilities, investments. How do they think? They don't obsess over what they can't afford. They focus on what they're creating, what they're building, what impact they want to make with their abundance. When you begin embodying this energy before you see the physical evidence, something miraculous happens. You're no longer vibrating need, you're vibrating having. And the universe, being the perfect mirror, must reflect back circumstances that match that frequency. Your external reality literally rearranges itself to align with your internal state. Opportunities that were invisible become obvious. People who can help you suddenly cross your path. Ideas that lead to income download into your consciousness, not because you forced anything, but because you finally became a vibrational match for what you've been commanding. Now let me reveal the specific mindset shifts that make embodiment effortless and natural rather than forced and fake. Comment, I embody wealth now, if you're ready to close the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Here's what most people misunderstand about manifestation, and it's probably the most important principle you'll ever learn. You don't attract what you want. You don't even attract what you visualize or affirm or write down in your journal. You attract what you believe yourself to be at the deepest level of your consciousness. Your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, who has to work hard for every dollar, who never quite has enough, then no amount of commanding or visualizing will override that core belief. Your reality will always mirror back your self-concept, not your wishes. This is why manifestation isn't about getting things. It's about becoming someone. It's about transforming your identity so completely that abundance becomes natural rather than miraculous. When you truly see yourself as someone to whom money belongs, when that becomes your baseline assumption about who you are, then attracting wealth stops being work. It's just what happens. It's as automatic as breathing. You're not trying to manifest anymore. You're simply living as the person you've become, and that person naturally attracts opportunities, resources, connections, and yes, money. So let's talk about what it actually means to think like someone with $500,000, because this is where the rubber meets the road. A person operating from that level of abundance doesn't think in terms of limitation. They don't look at a price tag and immediately calculate whether they can afford it. Instead, they ask themselves, is this aligned with my purpose? Does this serve my vision? Is this an investment in my growth? And if the answer is yes, they trust that the means will appear. They don't let their current bank balance dictate their decisions. They let their vision dictate their decisions, and then they watch as resources organize themselves around that vision. This is a radically different way of moving through the world. Most people make every decision from fear. They say no to opportunities because they're afraid of losing money. They stay in jobs they hate because they're afraid of not having security. They shrink their dreams to match their bank account instead of expanding their bank account to match their dreams. But someone vibrating at the frequency of abundance makes decisions from faith. They say yes to aligned opportunities even when the how isn't clear yet. They invest in themselves even when it feels risky. They bet on their vision because they know that the universe backs bold moves made from alignment. The impact of this shift in decision-making cannot be overstated. Every choice you make is either reinforcing your old identity or building your new one. When you choose from fear, you strengthen the neural pathways of scarcity. When you choose from faith, you forge new pathways of abundance. Your brain is literally rewiring itself with every decision, creating new patterns that will eventually become your automatic way of being. Now let me show you the exact thought patterns you need to cultivate to complete this transformation from scarcity consciousness to abundance consciousness. Type, I decide from faith, if you're committed to making this fundamental shift in how you approach every choice. Everything you're experiencing right now, every circumstance in your life, every relationship, every financial situation, every opportunity or lack thereof, is a direct reflection of your internal state. Your external world is not happening to you, it's happening from you. It's being projected outward from your consciousness like a movie being cast onto a screen. And just like you can't change what's on the screen by touching the images, you can't change your external circumstances by manipulating them directly. You have to go to the source. You have to change the projector, the internal beliefs and thoughts that are creating the images in the first place. This revelation is both empowering and terrifying. Empowering because it means you have complete control over your reality. Terrifying because it means you can't blame anyone or anything else for where you are. But once you accept this truth, once you really internalize that your outer world is nothing more than a mirror of your inner world, transformation becomes inevitable. You stop trying to fix circumstances and start transforming consciousness. You stop pushing against reality and start reshaping the thoughts that create reality. And the moment you change the inside, the outside has no choice but to follow. It's law, it's physics, it's how the universe operates. But here's where almost everyone trips up, and I want to share a story that perfectly illustrates this. A woman once came to me, frustrated that these 5 words weren't working for her. She'd been saying, "Money, you belong to me," every morning for a week. She'd been visualizing. She'd been doing everything right, or so she thought, but nothing was changing. When I asked her what she did right after her morning practice, she said, "I check my email to see if anyone sent me payment. I look at my bank account to see if anything appeared." And there was the problem, right there in plain sight. The moment you go looking for proof, you've broken the spell. You've revealed that you don't actually believe it's done. You're still operating from the energy of waiting, of hoping, of needing external validation before you can fully trust. But manifestation doesn't work that way. You don't check for proof. You become the proof. You embody the reality so completely that checking becomes unnecessary. Think about breathing. You don't stop every few minutes to check if your lungs are still working. You trust the process implicitly. That's the level of certainty you need to have about your abundance. When you look for evidence before you've fully embodied the frequency, you're essentially telling the universe, "I don't really believe this is real until you show me something." And the universe says, "Okay, you don't believe it's real, so I'll keep it in the realm of unreality until..." You do. This is the paradox of manifestation. You must believe it's done before you see proof that it's done. The seeing doesn't create the believing. The believing creates the seeing. Now let me show you how to maintain absolute faith, even when your current reality seems to contradict everything you're commanding. Write, "I am the proof" in the comments if this insight just shifted something fundamental in how you understand manifestation. The journey from command to manifestation isn't mystical or complicated. It comes down to three fundamental practices that, when done consistently, create unstoppable momentum. First, you speak those 5 words daily with authority, not with desperation, not with pleading, not with the energy of someone who's trying to convince the universe. You speak them the way a queen issues a decree, the way a CEO gives an instruction, the way someone who knows their power makes a statement of fact. Money, you belong to me. Every single day, without exception, without wavering, without apologizing for wanting abundance. Second, you act as if you already possess what you've commanded. This doesn't mean going out and spending money you don't have or making reckless financial decisions. It means carrying yourself differently. It means breathing easier because you're not carrying the weight of financial stress. It means smiling more because you know you're taken care of. It means moving through your day with purpose and confidence instead of anxiety and survival mode. The way you hold your body, the tone of your voice, the energy you bring into every room, all of it shifts to match the person who already has $500,000. Third, and this is where most people overlook something crucial, you align your environment. Look around your space right now. Is it organized or chaotic? Is your wallet neat or stuffed with crumpled receipts? Are your bills filed properly or scattered everywhere? The way you treat your current reality is a direct message to the universe about what you're ready to receive. If you can't respect and organize what you have now, why would the universe trust you with more? Here's a principle that Joseph Murphy emphasized constantly. The way you handle $5 determines how you'll handle $500,000. The patterns you establish with small amounts of money are the same patterns that will play out with large amounts. If you're careless with the money you have now, if you let it slip through your fingers without awareness, if you complain about every expense and treat money like an enemy, then you're programming yourself for the same experience at every level. But if you treat even your smallest bills with respect, if you organize your finances with care, if you spend consciously and save intentionally, you're establishing the energetic pattern of someone who's ready for wealth. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about making room. Physically and energetically, for what you're calling in. When your environment is chaotic, your mind is chaotic. When your mind is chaotic, your frequency is chaotic. And chaos repels abundance. Order attracts it. Clarity magnetizes it. Respect for what you currently have opens the channel for more to flow through. Now let me reveal one of the most powerful yet overlooked aspects of this entire process. Something that accelerates manifestation faster than almost anything else. Comment, I honor what I have. If you're ready to align your environment with your abundance, there's a secret that wealthy people understand intuitively, something that seems counterintuitive to those stuck in scarcity consciousness. The fastest way to declare to the universe that you already have abundance is to give before you see evidence of it. Not recklessly, not to the point of harming yourself, but generously. when you give your time to help someone, when you offer value without expecting immediate return, when you tip generously even though your bank account is modest, when you share what you have freely, you're broadcasting a powerful message. I live in overflow. I have more than enough. I am a conduit through which abundance flows, not a dam that blocks it. This act of giving creates one of the most potent energetic shifts possible. Scarcity holds tight to everything, afraid that letting go means losing. But abundance gives freely, knowing that the flow is infinite and what goes out always returns multiplied. When you give from a place of genuine generosity, you're literally embodying the consciousness of wealth before you possess the physical manifestation of it. You're telling your subconscious and the universe that you trust the supply, that you believe in your connection to infinite resources, that you're not operating from fear of lack. The impact of this single practice is transformative. Every act of generosity rewires your brain away from scarcity and toward abundance. It trains you to see yourself as someone who has, not someone who lacks. And remember, the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you genuinely believe yourself to be. When your actions demonstrate abundance consciousness, your identity shifts and your reality must follow. Now let's address something important. You might speak those 5 words today and wake up tomorrow expecting everything to be different. And when it's not, when your bank balance looks the same, when no miracle has occurred overnight, doubt might creep in. This is the moment where most people quit. They try it once, maybe twice, and when instant results don't appear, they conclude it doesn't work. But that's like going to the gym once and expecting to see a completely transformed body in the mirror the next morning. Commanding abundance is a practice, not a one-time event. If you declare, "Money, you belong to me," and nothing shifts immediately, you don't stop, you don't question. You don't abandon the process. You command again and again and again. You keep speaking those words with authority until they stop feeling like an affirmation and start feeling like a statement of fact. Until saying, "Money, you belong to me," feels as natural and true as saying your own name. That's when you know the transformation has taken root at the deepest level of your consciousness. The journey is about repetition with conviction until the new identity becomes your baseline normal. What feels like a stretch today will feel like truth tomorrow. What requires effort now will become automatic soon. When wealth consciousness becomes your default setting, when abundance feels normal rather than exceptional, that's when manifestation happens effortlessly. Now let me show you what to do when the manifestation starts appearing and how to receive it without sabotaging yourself. Type, "I give freely," if you're committing to generosity as part of your abundance practice. You've made it. This far, which tells me something important about you. You're not someone who just consumes content and moves on. You're someone who's genuinely ready for transformation. Someone who understands that the 5 words we've explored today aren't just another technique to try and forget. They're a key to unlocking a completely different relationship with abundance, with yourself, with the universe itself. If this message resonated with you, if something shifted inside while you were listening, I'd love for you to join this community by subscribing to the channel. This isn't just about watching videos, it's about surrounding yourself with the kind of content that keeps you in the frequency of growth, that reminds you daily of your power, that supports your journey from asking to commanding. Every video here is designed to help you remember who you really are and what you're truly capable of creating. And before you go, leave me a comment that says, "This message was meant for me, so I know." You were here, so I know this connected with you. There's something powerful about declaring your presence, about putting into words that you received what was meant for you. It's another form of commanding, another way of saying, "I claim this." If you found value in what we covered today, go ahead and hit that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this message reach others who need to hear it, who are ready to stop begging and start commanding their financial reality. And listen, there's a video right here that takes this even deeper, showing you exactly what happens in your brain and your energy field when you consistently practice these principles. Click and continue with me over there. I'll be waiting for you. Remember, money belongs to you. Say it one more time before you go. Feel it, know it, live it.